Okay, so I think we can call to order the Bike and Pedestrian Committee meeting. It's 6:36 on October 17th. Roll call. We have Mike, Amy, Tim, Tom, Sarah Mason, Sandy, Anya, and Adrian was going to join by phone. Adrian, are you there? Okay, so she's not here yet. The first order is approval of minutes from July 18th, sorry.
Motion to approve.
Awesome. Second?
Second.
Anybody have any comments on them? Vote to approve? All in favor?
Yes, no.
Motion to approve the minutes from September 19th.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Awesome. Second?
We're approving 2 minutes?
Yeah, because we couldn't vote last meeting.
I'll second it. Got it.
Any discussion on the minutes? Great. Vote to approve. All in favor?
Aye. Oh.
Okay, no members of the public currently. We can come back to that if anybody shows up. If it's okay with everybody, since we have Phil here, we do an engineering update first. So.
Sure. Yep. Thanks.
Hey, Bill.
Hello, everyone. Just to give you an update with South Benson Road, we had a preliminary meeting with a couple of the neighbors. Now the next step, it was decided that in order to do a full-fledged plan right of way from one end to the other, the town has hired a surveyor for that job, and they've begun the work.
Wow.
After the survey work is, then the completed design will begin. When they reach what they call semi-final stage, we'll present it to the neighborhood and the Bike and Ped Committee, I imagine, and for comment on that. And, you know, some of the things that are going to be important, and I have it listed down here, is these, I'll call these goals. And for those who are at the meeting, they know some of these already, but the town's looking at doing a bulb out and maybe realigning with the old post road, and this is for, again, South Benson. There was a gateway median or gateway treatment, because when you go on South Benson, you're in a commercial area with the funeral home, a couple of office buildings or businesses. You got the shopping center on the one side, and then all of a sudden, boom, after that stop sign, you're in a residential area. So there'd be a gateway median there. We're looking at a bulb out or intersection improvement at the bend where South Benson Place is, Benson Place, I'm sorry. I did skip one, I'm sorry. A raised intersection or crosswalk at Riverside Road and South Benson. There'd be pavement markings. We're looking at continuing the sidewalk on the north side by the marina. There's no side for whatever reasons. I mean, I think I know some of them. One side has a limited right-of-way. The other has a little bit of a hill by the marina.
Yeah, it slopes down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so we'll be looking at doing some work there. And then at the beach kiosk or booth, toll booth, whatever you want to call it, the beach sticker booth, we're looking at improvements there where maybe the sidewalk can go up and around, or if we go across, maybe condense it into one lane, or even look at 2 lanes, one where the ticker people would be and one where it would just be a bypass. But we want to definitely have a pedestrian improvement there as well. We're also looking at a bike route, or preferably, and this is where the neighborhood involvement will be, is bike lane. And if they do the bike lane, they want to even do the green, bike lane all the way down. Obviously, that costs a little bit more money, but they were looking at doing that. If the neighborhood agrees that you can't park in the bike lane.
Green, but not protected?
Green right now, in terms of protection, they would have you could have the 6-inch fog line, and then everything would be green. on that.
physical barrier?
If they, a physical barrier, that's something we would have to look into. But right now, I don't think it's called for, but, what we also have is that surveyor. We also have another, that same consultant looking at, when we get to that plan, just to overlook it and see if they have any changes or ideas as well. And then they also, we're hoping, they're giving us a proposal for it, to provide a 3D model, so that people could really get a visual. Because again, winning the neighborhood over is gonna be.
Well, so I was gonna ask, when you say like winning the neighborhood over, like, how are you guys thinking about that? And maybe, like, how can we help? I guess, and also, like, when you're thinking winning the neighborhood over, like, is there like a certain internal, like, threshold the town's thinking of that's like, it's like, 50% of the neighbors in favor of it, we're good?
I don't know right now if there's a formal threshold. That'd probably be to town officials to decide on that.
Even informal, like, how do you generally decide that there's not enough resistance to stop whatever you're trying to do?
Again, in the past, it varied. We try to get like an overwhelming majority, 2/3 or more, in the interest of public safety. And again, by doing, some pedestrian counts or some other things, that could possibly go down to just a general majority. I don't know on that. But what they usually, if the neighborhood would overwhelmingly say we're not giving up parking or whatever, then it might be a hard sell, or a harder sell, I should say.
Okay, and then how will that information get out to?
Well, that would be
the neighbors, and like, is it just a public meeting that will happen?
Yeah, well, I would think, before the public meeting, I'll call it the core group that we met with before, would maybe a week before, 2 weeks before, have an opportunity to just, comment, show, the support or whatever. And that might help. And then when we have the meeting, to show that there are people who live in the neighborhood that support it, but there's also people who go to the beach that support it.
Right.
This is not just my neighborhood alone. When you have a destination, and that's the key word, when you have a destination, then it becomes more of a public and not just a neighborhood thing.
Okay.
But you always get that, well, this is my neighborhood,
Right.
My vote should count more, and that kind of stuff. But we're hoping that there's enough people, and that the group that we met with can also provide some outreach, and help, because as you know, if you get the majority or a good significant number of neighbors to agree to it, then it's a home run.
And then is this Christine, your primary person?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe we can offer to, like,
Yeah.
our bike ped members to knock doors if needed,
Mhm. But you want to wait to at least have something
right.
in your hand to show.
Yeah. I'm just,
The green bike lane that you're talking about, is that on both sides?
Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about completely eliminating all parking on South Benson.
Mhm. If you make it a bike
there's
lane.
plenty of sidewalks.
Would there ever be a possibility of, like they do in Manhattan, where they have
bi-directional.
alternating? So only
I
one
would-
side of the road, because if you take out parking on both sides,
Yeah, Bill and I have talked about this.
anybody who has a christening, a party,
Mhm.
there's no place for their people to park.
Mhm.
If at least one side of the street, because there aren't a lot of people parking on that street as it is now.
No.
But
People want that option.
they want that option. Well,
Yeah.
we can't have,
They usually-
we can't have people over for Thanksgiving.
We've
because they
talked
don't
about,
park.
like,
You don't-
applying for a permit for, like, a special occasion like that, too.
Yeah.
And if it's not protected, then if there's not the physical barrier.
Yeah.
I'm just, this is,
Yeah.
these are
I mean,
options.
yeah, I know. but-
The bi-directional, one of the concerns that I have now, I think they have one that they just put in. I want to get the town right. It's either East or West Haven that they might have put one in, one of the consultants that we were talking about. And again, it's for, one stretch, and it was near a school or something like that. My fear is if we start having bike networks, and you're supposed to ride with traffic, and then all of a sudden there's something different.
Right.
The bi-directional, in my opinion, seems to work a lot when it's a one-way road. one way.
Yeah.
Then, obviously, one of the ways, to bike, you'd have to go in the opposite direction. If we were to do that, I think you definitely would need to have the bollards or some sort of device to do that. But you don't gain any room, because they had said that the bi-directional or cycle track, I think is the name that a lot of people use, where it's like 11 or 12 foot wide. And so, total, so it's like 5 or 6 feet in each direction. And so, you do that, and then again, it depends. Now, if South Benson is 30 feet, that's going to be tough. 32, all right. If it's 34, well then, 11 feet, well, you still got enough room for cars. And it's not a heavily trafficked truck route. Eventually it's a dead-end road. So there's definitely some, potential consideration for that. I think we were just thinking in terms of the ease, but again, that's one of those things where the neighborhood was like, we're not giving up, well, what about if we do that? Then, of course, then they kind of, well, which side do you go on? And, and then as I said, my fear of, again, you got to start somewhere, but with the dual lane, and then everywhere else it's single lane, it might, you try to be consistent.
I wonder though, like, if you think, I don't know, yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, like, South Benson goes up North Benson, you have the same, kind of a similar issue with nobody parks on North Benson, though.
Yeah, North Benson's a state road, and I don't.
Well, right, yeah.
I don't think they're gonna and it's not as wide, that's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean,
you're gonna do a plan.
yes.
Is there money, where's the money coming from to build it?
Well, that's a good point. Right now, we have it in our waterfall chart, and the budgets are due soon, and it will get included in the budget.
So
it could be anywhere.
The plan.
Yeah, the plan is I believe they have money for the plan, or as I said, the survey and the design. That's already included. We're doing most of the design in house, and then just going to give it to a consultant just to make any comments that they have, just to as a like a third party review.
Because there already is a design for South Benson, right? Like a preliminary
Yeah,
one.
we have a preliminary. Yep.
Bill, in your experience, is it better to have the money in your hand before you go to the neighborhood, or do you go to the neighborhood and use them to help you get the money?
It really depends. Sometimes when we apply for a grant, like in the case with the McKinley School one, we went talking at least just a sample of the neighborhood who was in favor of it. Then when we had a little public meeting just to get things started, we found out, there's one particular street and one particular group that is against the sidewalks going to the school. I think, and this is a case where the neighborhood may say anything, but when you get the combination of, hey, we have a grant, this is a one and one time only, you turn down this grant, that might affect other grants in town, you got this, you got that.
The kids are walking to school on your
walking to school,
Okay.
you might be able to convince that neighborhood, or we might just go ahead and do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Tim, when we were talking about this a few months ago, I'm so bad with names, the finance guy was here.
David Becker.
Thank you.
I asked that
David Becker, and
question, he said they didn't have the money.
he was encouraging us to do this so that we have shovel-ready projects. He's like, we're going to be working and getting the money, we're going to be working and getting grants. So what he's found to be successful is to have things shovel-ready so that as soon as the money comes in, we can jump on it. So I think that's
what a lot of, I think he was saying, like, Stanford's kind of set up that way. They do a lot of the designs, like, in-house, and then once they get the money, they're like, okay, we're going to use it for X.
So you're talking about
design.
money.
Yeah, design would be town money.
Where's it coming from?
The town money would come either out of the DPW budget, it could come out of ARPA, or it could come out of, we do have either a roadway improvements account, or we have a sidewalk and paving account that it could possibly come out of for the design.
Yes.
For the design, and then that's what they were saying. So for the design, we secure that money, and then when we go for construction, if you have a design already in place, MetroCog, the DOT, even federal grants, it's a lot easier to have a shovel-ready project because that gives you a leg up, because they're competitive grants.
So, I'm just
Sure.
wondering, though, and I don't wanna beat this to death, but if, to get this going, you gotta go back to the residents and say, here's what we wanna do, right?
It's, no matter what, either you go for a grant or you go forever, it's a good thing to have that communication, let them know that the project's happening.
Okay.
If they voice their opinion in opposition, if there's a way you could tweak it, then maybe
Right.
that's what you go with. Oh, and if not, then,
So if they were good with it, you kinda like saying to them, okay, we wanna do this, but you're gonna have to wait until we get money to do it.
yes,
Yeah.
we've done that, yes.
Okay. Does that hurt our credibility? Because you could have 20,000 plans, you're not doing anything.
This is a very detailed plan, we don't have.
Well, no, I mean, it's,
No,
whether
I understand what
it's
you're saying.
detailed or
because
not
that's-
detailed,
What
it's
what I
like,
wanna talk about was my
Yeah,
project, right?
I-
I've been waiting like.
Well, I think
two
that
years,
might,
and
I think
people
that
are
might
like,
be like,
this is.
maybe this is like a
Right.
communication thing though,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think if, I don't know, I'm just, it's in part, like, moving that way to just kind of be, cause this is new. The South Benson stuff is like really detailed. I've never seen anything like it, and if the town's moving in that direction, it's gonna be messy for a little while, and it's like just being forthright.
Especially if it's the first one of different components, then,
Right.
yeah, that definitely could add.
But going to your point,
it makes sense.
there's one on the table that didn't get done. Now you're coming up with another one that we don't have any money to do. Does that hurt our credibility? Or, I'm just asking the question. I don't know.
Well, I think that like in my particular example, it's
Which is
funded.
that Villa Avenue?
Yeah, it's funded, right,
Okay.
like the.
Yes,
They have the
Yeah.
money.
Right, so
Yes.
we've basically been waiting because it was infrastructure work from the gas
Right,
company.
right, right.
And,
Oh, yeah, that's
right, so like that's really what was causing the delay, not
Mhm.
the town or waiting for designs or anything.
Mhm.
But it's still, like whenever I send a neighborhood update, they're like,
Yeah.
Well, I do have
Right,
something
yeah.
here, we're meeting
Right.
with, we're
Yeah, I
meeting with
think we should move
contractors
on.
tomorrow and early next week. And then, we'll go from there, they give us a proposal. We pick the one that we like the best, and we go from there. So, hopefully there'll be some construction, pretty soon. We had, as I said, go through the purchasing process, and one of the other ways we could have done it is through the bidding process of an actual contract. But on that one there, you typically have to wait a month before you can, you gotta give them enough time to, and open it to everybody. And then from there, it takes another week or two to review all the bids, and then you have to go back to the Board of Selectmen, even though the money's been approved just through the contract of it. And so that would have been like a 6-week process. This way, we're hoping to get everything in, and if it falls under a certain limit, we might be able to start like within 2 weeks.
yeah, that's what I
So
was
it's-
trying to
yeah, that's
figure out
what-
after
yeah.
reading the purchasing policy and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it said like, it had to be under $5,000, I'm like, there's no way that
No.
this project is under $5,000.
No.
Is there a final design for Villa? Like, there's like because there's
All
supposed
I've
to
ever
be,
seen is a conceptual.
Yeah, well, Mega's working on that, and I believe she's done with it, and she's submitted it to the contractors. So,
Is it possible to see that?
I will check with her on that.
Because if you recall, the last time that we met when we were on site, we discussed, landscape medians, like 4
Well,
corners.
that's the only part that we're kind of caught in the middle, because even at 4 corners, we're having some issues. The town does not, or I should say DPW does not maintain that landscaping for the 4 corners.
Right.
that one on Mill Plain though, I think that's done by I think that's Mary's group, like, does the flowers.
For your sustainability or whatever?
Yeah,
Mary Hogue, is that?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
maybe there's like,
that's the forestry
And
triangle,
that's why I'm
yeah.
curious, right, because if it comes, because we're getting so close to going out to the contractors, right, it is really important for the people in the neighborhood not to have this disgusting, ugly, solid brick
yeah,
island in front of my house, which is going to be directly across from the new open space that's part of the Rooster River flood mitigation, which will be like walking trails. You're gonna have this beautiful new park with walking trails, and you're gonna look at these ugly brick islands that those, quite frankly, don't get maintained either. If you ever drive
Yeah.
down the highway, they're broken and there's weeds everywhere, and you know, they just
Yeah.
look awful. But if we can start now by, like, working with Mary's group, or, you know, maybe, like, you see,
Getting,
you know,
getting
super
somebody
duper, you know,
responsible for
maintained.
maintenance might help your
Yeah.
cause.
Right.
The other thing though, and I think John Marsilio made a good point as well, is it's one of those where one of the islands is there is to protect so that the pedestrians have a point of refuge. So when they're crossing through, you can't have, you know, trees or anything high growing because that will block the visibility of the
But
pedestrian.
that's not the point of those, right? There's no crosswalks there that people are supposed to be crossing there.
No, but there will be because
You're putting in
because
crosswalks.
on the, I want to get it right now, on the south side of Villa is the sidewalk, and the open space is on the north side.
Right.
So we're from that sidewalk, we're gonna have a crosswalk, we'll just say arbitrarily at the gate that's there, and they'll, that's how
But
they'll
won't
access
that be
the
like
property.
between the islands based on what?
No, the island is there, and there'll be a break in the island to.
Right, and so if you have a break in the island, and you just put nice stuff on the other side,
Yeah.
so long as you can still, because frankly, no one's gonna, I almost got run over last night, and like truly run over, trying to cross Villa Avenue.
Yeah.
So then plants or no plants, someone's gonna stop in that crosswalk anyway. But, you know, like I said, that's why I'd like to see the plans, because if the neighborhood's gonna have to now go back out and advocate for people to help maintain it, because I'm sure the town probably will not let us maintain it because of liability issues, because I'd be happy to maintain it myself, just to.
Well, that actually happened. You know where Uncle What's School is?
Mm-hmm.
Across the street at Churchill Road.
Churchill.
Yep.
That big plant, my friend's wife maintained that for like 10 or 15 years.
Right, that's kind of like on the side of the road, these are the islands.
Hi, this is Mary Ho. Can I just,
Yeah, go ahead,
Across the
Mary.
street, going up the hill.
so the forestry triangle is the mill,
Hold
Let's
on,
let Mary
Mary's
talk.
trying to talk to you. Go ahead, Mary.
can you hear me? So the
We can hear
Mill
you.
Plain Umpqua triangle is the forestry triangle, and we maintain it as volunteers. We will not take on any other thing, but you can sign up to do that. Jeff Minder, the tree warden, is responsible for those spaces where they adopt a spot kind of space. Whoever's in charge of it should make sure you have safety vests when you do it, because obviously where we were working just recently, it's busy and you do want to be careful, but the town lets you do it. So
Oh, but I just have to go through the tree
Tree
warden.
warden.
Tree
yeah,
warden
so
or
Bill,
condition?
Bill,
Yeah, one or the other, yeah.
no, tree warden. So ask
Oh, it is, okay.
so
'Cause I know
ask
Tim
Bill
did
for the Jeff's contact info.
Yeah, I have his number. I could give it to everybody here.
Okay, thanks, Barry. All right. Are we good on Villa, Amy?
So Villa's gonna be done before the weather gets cold.
Yep, that's our, yep.
I think, those were really my two big questions, like
Okay.
the medians and seeing a final plan.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Bill,
Okay, let's see what else I got for everybody here is, Reading Road, Mill Plain, and Sturgis. We have a consultant, working on, expanding it. We have, again, some concepts, but for now to get it to design the construction, we have a company called Beta that's submitted a scope and will be presented at the next Board of Selectmen meeting. If that gets approved, they'll be given the notice to proceed.
so is this just for right-of-way stuff, like stop fencing?
No,
or is it-
no, the Reading Road and Mill Plain and Sturgis are for traffic calming measures,
Oh, okay.
you know.
Great.
Because, as I said, the one intersection in particular, Mill Plain Road and Umpqua, we're very limited with the right-of-way, and so a fresh set of eyes for that, if they come up with something different, or if they come up with the same thing that we did, at least the neighborhood knows. We hired a consultant to take a look at it. It wasn't the town just doing, you know, whatever. So that, then,
It's not just the neighborhood, it's the whole town hits that intersection, Bill.
Yeah,
It's not just
Well,
that.
you know what I think happened is the roads were done, and then they extended, and they come on with these
Yeah.
cheeky
They
Cape
should have
points
never
and-
allowed these driveways in the intersection.
I know,
So,
believe me.
okay.
I know all that. The road diet, the state has revised their markings to incorporate the Porsche or Exide development there, so they're still moving forward with that.
Big open space is gonna be the Porsche dealership.
That's finalized.
Open space.
Well, it's not open space, like the big lot, the grass lot.
Yeah.
That old- Yeah.
Wait, sorry, what does the road diet have to do with
Oh,
it?
that was, that.
No, because they have driveways
Guess so.
involved, and so they had to change a couple of,
What's the status on that? I thought that was already gonna be painted this fall.
well, that was, no, I don't know about it. I'm thinking it's more like the spring they're gonna do it.
That's what they were saying at the Porsche meeting.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, spring
What is it?
2025.
What's
What
that?
did you say?
There was I was watching the zoning meeting for the Porsche dealership, and that's kind of what they were suggesting there.
So they're moving off of Commerce Drive.
No, it's similar to Commerce Drive, yeah, the double left,
Yeah.
the road diet for that. On the other road diet, we're still moving forward with Grassmere and Post. The final design for that one, there's gonna be an RRFB where unfortunately there was a fatality, and I don't know, maybe even now, it's probably been 3 or 4 years ago, where Shoreham Village Drive is.
Okay.
So that project from there to Grassmere and then up Grassmere, the state had some comments. They actually made us change a portion of the road diet based on volumes. So we had to go back and change that, but now I think we're good for that one. Let's see what else. Southport connectivity, that was one down in Southport there. We hope to go to the Board of Selectmen either this Wednesday or at the next meeting to award to the low bidder. The good news is that at least both of the bidders that presented the bids for the contract have worked on streetscapes and connectivity projects before, and they've had positive feedback. So that's always good to hear. And then just on the state side, the state's working on ramps and ADA improvements as part of their complete streets. When they paved with a high friction, they called it a thin, high friction surface pavement treatment for Route 58, Upper Black Rock Turnpike, and then Tunxus Hill. So they're working on some of the ramps and then pedestrian improvements for that. And then the state also presented for Route 1 from Meadowbrook all the way to the Walgreens or Board of Ed building by Jennings Road. There's 11 signalized intersections. They're going to be taking out the equipment, putting in new equipment, and making ADA and pedestrian improvements there. A lot of them will have the countdown signals, and if there's an exclusive, they'll keep the exclusive. If there's no exclusive, they're going to go with the permitted phase and go from there. They had a virtual public meeting on that. I attended. There's a slideshow. If anyone's interested, I can send you the slides for it. And they were looking at, again, finalizing the design sometime in spring, and then have fall construction for that one. If you didn't notice, there's a pattern, especially with the state projects. It's at least a year of design, a year of public input and putting out the contract, and then a year to construct, so.
And then, so my only question
Sure.
is Post Road by North Benson there, like going toward, like the Circle Diner. There's this, what appears to be a buffered bike lane. Can you speak to that?
Sure. On that there, the state, I think it's part of the, they're trying to get a bikeway from Bridgeport to Stamford, so that was one of the things. And because there was an excessive lane width there, they were able to provide the 2-foot bike buffer, and then have a 5-foot shoulder area or bike lane.
Mm-hmm.
But it only goes basically from like the Chick-fil-A to the Hanson's Flower Shop or the Citgo at Round Hill Road, because that's where it was wide. And I think it's only even on one side. I don't even think it's the other.
and like,
So weird. What's the reasoning for putting it in one block?
That was something that
so they
they
can say we did put a bike lane in
yeah,
there.
Well, yeah,
So
that's
I have a call
problematic.
in, they called me back, but I was at a meeting, but I have a call in just to see, are they gonna put up a bike route sign or bike
Oh my God,
lane sign?
that would be
or
so
The one
easy.
block bike
It's only for
Pretty
one block.
misleading,
Yeah,
right?
it's,
from,
Good for a block.
I
Well,
don't,
there's
either that or
also
it's.
other, it's weird too, because there are other parts that they've striped, like by the pantry there, where there's like an excessive amount of space between the parking and, but they didn't put any sort of like buffer markings in
All right,
there.
I have to.
Like
I
very,
have to look on that.
I mean, but
haven't
it's
had-
like, it only goes for that, one block, that extra space.
Yeah, I do know
It would be good to know if there are like future plans that we should be aware of too.
That's one of the things, the state, I've requested even, plans for the Route 58, or the ADA ramps. And because it's a design build kind of situation, they politely told me that we will be granted access for the as-built drawings. So I don't get to.
when it's over, you will let me know.
Right,
It's done.
but at least I'll have a recording so that when they screw up or something, I guess I can go back and.
CYA.
Yeah, so, because I was hoping that it would give me ahead of time so I can comment, but I didn't get anywhere with it for that. The last thing I wanted to mention, with the, right before, with the Sunny Days, which is right in between, North and South Benson and the, Chick-fil-A, we did have them crosshatch, that area, and again, that might have been part of this bike lane that they expanded on, because we did not want, the police were getting tons of calls of people cutting through or creating a fourth lane, to do the right on red and all that. So that might have been the reason why we made a request for that, and then whether the state added.
It's not really like a bike lane at all,
No.
it's just a way to reduce the other width of the road. It's
I-
fine, I guess it's
Something,
it's-
but I wouldn't call it,
It's just the fact that with the double line, if they had just done a single line, then I would have said, yeah, it was just.
a lot of
But a
people,
single line
like,
would've
who aren't in this, like, I am, are asking me, what's this bike lane doing on Post Road, so.
Yeah,
Or
I'll try to
definitely
find,
looks
I'll try to
like-
find the official response, I do have a
Okay.
contact.
I wish they just
that,
cross-hatched up the whole thing, so it doesn't look like a lane.
Right.
It
That's-
doesn't look
yeah.
like a bike lane,
Well,
it doesn't look like a bike lane or.
That was what our original request was.
Yeah,
Or-
it's like
or
a
we-
bump out, but yeah.
Yeah, we
I'll
said,
paint
yeah,
the bump out,
basically,
yeah.
yeah, we said crosshatch, or if the state has a plan on doing the bike lane, to include it, and so maybe they took that. And,
Yeah, okay.
I
right.
don't know, but that's what I have. I'll try to get back to people on the landscaping. As I said, that's something that the town officials will have to decide, whether, or not they're gonna do that.
So,
Okay.
do you think we,
Riverside, that bridge, how long is it gonna be? that
For,
project?
that was supposed to be 16 months, that bridge.
Okay.
And-
so I really appreciated when, like, a while back, you did these, like, email updates, and then we can kind of, like, ask questions about it. It's nice to have it, like, written down.
Mhm.
Was that a lot of, if it's not too much of your time?
Yeah, rather than just if I have the time, I have no problem,
Yeah, because then you
doing
just
that.
update it from month,
Yeah.
from
Mhm.
month to month, and maybe it
Right.
won't be so much just the first time. It might take a little
Mhm.
extra time.
Yeah.
I have trouble keeping, like, all these details in my head. Writing
I know,
them
I
down.
go fast, and I apologize.
No, that's
I'm
okay.
Oh,
just-
good.
I mean, if
In the
you
interest
can,
of time.
you know, if you can do it, maybe even update it every 2 months, that would already be, like,
Mhm.
Bless you.
Oh, yeah, no, I can do that, and again, if there's a particular question,
Yeah, any other
you know,
questions
you
for Bill?
can, you can email me or give me a call. To
What's
be
the
honest with you,
timeline for
you're probably better off calling me.
yeah. What's the time?
I don't know, I tried that, I didn't get you then either, Bill.
Timeline for McKinley sidewalk? You said it's gonna get done. Do we have any idea
Well,
what
the RFP, is going out, to the consultants for the design.
Uh-huh.
I wanna, I
So you
mentioned to
just a year
Megha,
for
we're
the
gonna
design, you
call,
said.
it would be at least 6 months, at least, yeah, 6 months.
Sidewalks, I would
to a
imagine
year.
it's simpler to design than like.
Well, it is
steps,
and isn't, but you gotta also remember, when you do the handicap ramps in particular, you have to have your dimples or tactile strip, then you have your ramp, and then you have to have a landing. And
Yeah,
so that landing sometimes can go on someone else's property, and
yeah.
so then that's where the right-of-way and the easements come into play a lot. And that's why you need the survey for that.
So looking at six.
But we're also, I'm gonna, ironically, I was gonna try to do it today, but we're gonna do it tomorrow, is to talk to MetroCog and see about, you might recall from McKinley School, we had a second grant where they said we had a really good chance of getting additional funding for the whole neighborhood. And that would be good, because then the money goes from like, off the top of my head, I'll say, like 670,000 to like 2 million.
Amazing.
Oh, wow.
So it's
That would change like the
That-
vibe of the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
it really would.
Oh, completely.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's what we're shooting for. So.
Amazing.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, sorry I took up.
All right.
Thank you.
My brother's house is gonna gain some value with
Great.
all the sidewalks, improve
You
value.
think so, you think so?
Since we're doing town departments, Mary, do you have any updates or anything you need from us?
Well, one thing is this Saturday and next Sunday, we're going to be tabling at two events. This Saturday is the Harvest Festival at Old Town Hall Green, facing Old Post Road, and then Halloween on the Green is next Sunday, which is, that interior green by the museum. And I wanted to ask if there's any materials that you'd like us to have that we could put on the table. We're kind of like anything sustainability. And if anybody would be interested in helping to table, that would be great, and particularly this Saturday because we're making it a waste-free event. So not only are we tabling, but we're also manning waste stations so that we help educate people on what's recyclable, what's compostable, and what goes in the trash. So I can send Sarah the email I sent out to the Sustainable Fairfield and Forestry Committee if that would be helpful.
Yeah, that'd be great. Is there like a sign up link in there, or are there times that you need people?
There's not. We have like the bare bones of what we need, and really anybody who can give an hour. It's a lot of fun anyway. I mean, there's food trucks at the thing this weekend. There's food trucks. There's a dog. There's an amazing, very, very fun dog parade at noon. You really actually don't want to miss it.
This Saturday?
Saturday.
This Saturday, 10 to 4. 10 to 4 at Saturday. And then if you have kiddos, you want to go to Halloween on the Green because it's crazy. It's like trick or treat madness. Noon to 4 next Sunday. So that's just a quick shout out, and to get materials from you. Secondly, I wanted to share very exciting news. It was in Bill's newsletter that the town of Fairfield is considered a gold standard of sustainability.
I saw that. Congratulations.
Well, it's the town. So
yeah.
and then so they wrote it wrong. It wasn't supposed to be Sustainable Fairfield. It's actually the town of Fairfield because of the things that you all do and so many other people and Bill, the superhero of Fairfield. All the work that gets done in Fairfield is why we got this. So thank you for all the work that you all do. We'll be planning a celebration probably in January, and you'll get an invite on that. But that's usually what we do when we get that. So those are the two things in particular that I wanted to share.
Is this from that report that you were writing? This is from that,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that I asked you for help with, yes.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. That's all part of that. That's great.
So thank you. Yes, like I said, you guys are definitely in there, and we needed 750 points. I think we submitted 1,600 because we're Fairfield County overachievers, and we got about like 800. And they give us reasons why we didn't get as much as we submitted, and then we have to do these little tweaks so we could get more. So I want to make sure everyone gets the credit they deserve. So we'll be going back and revisiting that. And just lastly, our organization, Sustainable Fairfield, is now 20 years old this month, I think even.
Wow.
So we started out as a clean energy task force. So we were only focused on air quality and the dirty 5 or whatever. I don't know. Larry can tell the story through a RTM ordinance. And now we've expanded our range, and we now have a new sustainability plan, which I think, Anya, you also helped me with. And we now have a 2024 version of sustainability plan, which includes bike walk in it. It's on the website. So you might want to be taking a look at that to make sure, because it's on the web. We can change it at any point. So if we got something wrong or we missed something, or you want to, talk about South Benson before we're ready to update the whole plan, we're happy to do that. So that's the joy of being on the web. And we have a new website design, so that's exciting. So we're planting trees where we can, and one thing that is really bothersome, because I heard you talk about North Benson, which is a state road, versus South Benson, we cannot plant trees along the roadside in North Benson because the DOT will not allow it. And I know trees along the roadside is a very important part of, traffic calming. So I don't know if we join forces, I cannot get the guy who's responsible at DOT to return any emails or phone calls. They're willing to cut down trees, they're just not willing to plant trees.
Yeah.
And it's really disappointing because the lines are only on one side, so we can plant ornamental trees under the wire so that they won't grow tall, just like we do everywhere else in town, and we can plant shade trees on the non-line side, so that, people get the benefit of the shade and all the carbon dioxide and, absorption and so forth. So if you're interested in working on that together, let me know. So I think that's it for both Fairfield forestry and sustainability.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. Yeah.
I feel like I want to ask Sarah.
I was saying maybe we can brainstorm some ways to figure out the state road issue. Okay.
Yeah, the tree warden can't get through to him. I don't know if maybe Bill can, but we're just not making any progress. And it's not fair because it's a town program, the tree planting program, and it just seems to me very unfair that if you live on this road, sorry, you can't participate, even though your taxes are helping to subsidize it. I think that's not fair.
What happens if you just do it?
I don't know.
Seriously. If it's in front of my house, I want to put a tree there, put it there. What are they going to
Well, the town can't, you can do it as a resident, but the town program is pretty heavily subsidized.
Well, no, it pretty much kind of covers the cost of it just to the most part, but you cannot plant in the right-of-way. It doesn't matter if you do it yourself or we do it. You cannot plant in the right-of-way, which means
I think Tim's saying you can plant right outside the right-of-way, but that's, Anyway.
And we do, don't tell anybody, we do stretch we do fudge the ruler and help people when we can.
Okay, all right, cool, thanks, Mary.
Thanks.
Santina, do you have anything you need from us or to update?
Nope, no updates, just I'm here, whatever you guys need help with.
Awesome, thank you. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go super fast through, I just have a few things up for the chairman's report,
The police haven't been here in months.
So Anya I guess there's a budget thing going on with the police, is what we were told. I did have a thought in the middle of the night the other night. Maybe we can ask them to come once a quarter. I don't know. We can try.
They get an overtime job?
What?
Maybe.
I don't know.
They used to send 3 people. We sometimes we don't need 3 people. We just need
one.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe if you have that email with Hector still going, maybe just asking if they can come once a quarter.
But we'd want to strategize when they come, though.
Yeah.
What's the point of them coming?
I agree.
Are they in the loop, or we need to have an agenda for them?
Yeah. Maybe when
I'm just not sure what benefits there is to once a quarter. I want to be really clear on that.
It was just an idea. We can talk about it more.
Sorry, I'm not disagreeing. I think we should just talk about what I can tell them the benefit is of attending once a quarter, how we can plan around it. Rather than just asking, can you attend at least 2 months?
Okay. I'm just going to go quickly. I just have a few things. I'm going to start with October's Pedestrian Safety Month, and I think I don't think we have a very solid plan on how we're going to do anything as a committee. So I think like going, like next year, we should talk about it before October, because October's half over. So if anybody has any ideas on what we could do for the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna try and post some things on Instagram, social media, but we could probably prepare something for the first selectmen's newsletter that could go out, also. So there's that. If anybody has any ideas, sorry, let me know. World Remembrance Day, which is when it's like Connecticut's statewide day for remembering road traffic victims, is held in New Haven. It's going to be Sunday, November 17th from 1 to 2:30. So people who have lost loved ones due to like road traffic fatalities will speak, and then legislators, all with the goal of moving Connecticut closer to Vision Zero goals. So it's an open to the public thing if you are free and available and want to go. Excuse me. I attended a kickoff meeting for a public education campaign. I think I mentioned last month that the First Selectman's Office is planning to start kind of like a town-wide, what are the right ways to walk and bike, what are the ways to drive, how to watch out for pedestrians, e-scooters, it's kind of like a brainstorming session. There's going to be these smaller working groups that are going to come out of it. The first one is next week. I'm going to attend, but if anybody else is interested, they're during the work days, so I don't know how feasible it is for everybody, but it's important to have somebody from the committee there, so I'm definitely going to the next one, but if anybody else wants to get involved.
Time, date, place?
Next week
is like 11 o'clock here on Thursday, I think it is. I can send it out.
24th?
Does it have to be in person?
I think that's the preference, but I don't know. Yeah.
So then that makes it really hard.
I know. It's hard for me, too. So.
And
I have to get a sitter. It's like a whole thing, yeah. Anyway, well, let me know, and I'm happy to, I can do this first one, and then we can kind of see what it's going to be like, too, and I can give you guys heads up over email going forward. We still have our vacancy. I guess it was supposed to go to the Board of Selectmen next week, but unfortunately, the woman who they were going to put on has said that she doesn't have the bandwidth to come on the committee anymore. So Christine Brow.
Actually, Anthony, who came to one of our meetings, Capaldo, he texted me today to see if he could be a candidate, and just talking to Bill about it before I came in here, and Bill knows Anthony pretty well, and he said that there were some, probably related to South Benson, some conversations where Anthony was a little too aggressive. He wasn't sure if he would be the perfect fit, but he said, he said there's a list.
Yeah, there is a list, but I know, and Mike had emailed me, so there's a link on the website, so if you get back to Anthony, tell him to put his information in there so they have a formal way to track it.
Yep.
Mike had reached out about somebody too.
Kenny would be dynamite.
Okay.
You have to be really
As long as they're not a Democrat.
Yes, they'd have to be either an independent, unaffiliated or Republican, because we're at the cap for Dems now.
I mentioned that. Anthony said he's unaffiliated.
Pretty hardcore.
Unfortunately.
How hard is it?
Well, so that's kind of what happened with Christine. She was registered as a Dem, and nobody told her to. She decided to switch her registration to unaffiliated, but there's like a 3-month waiting period before you can actually be considered whatever party you're. So that's why everything was delayed with her coming on board. But you should definitely tell her to apply so we have her in the pipeline, so that way, like, if somebody steps down and the numbers
I
change.
the library yesterday.
But if anybody has any other friends who are unaffiliated or Republican, would be great.
Which is how I'm registered.
It's either Republican or unaffiliated.
Right, yeah, either.
Can't be a Democrat.
It can't be a Democrat. We have too many Dems right now.
But it should be legit too. I mean, kind of like.
Oh, yeah.
Going over, come on, it's a bike committee.
Yeah.
Really?
No,
Okay.
like we're making budget decisions.
Right,
Yeah. And then the last thing I was just going to mention, we had the Riverfield Bike Bus on October 2nd. It was awesome. It was a really great event. We had a lot of participation, more than I was expecting. The police were great. I don't think we had any issues. And then there's this one girl who rode, and she lives close to school, but she has a bus. Like, she lives, just off in the Sturgis neighborhood, off in Mill Plains, so not super far. But I guess at student council, they had student council elections right after, and so she ran on the platform of making the bike bus every week. And I was like, I just thought it was so great. And then there was another girl who I rode next to, who had never ridden to school before, and she was like, oh, it's my first time. I was like, no, it's everybody's first time. We've never done this before. She's like, no, it's my first time ever riding a bike to school. What's a school? Not like,
okay, all right.
Not ever riding a bike, but I just thought it was so cool to give, kids that opportunity. And Stratfield is tomorrow, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so.
It's going to be a hilly ride.
Yeah.
We have to alter our route for safety reasons.
Where do they start?
They're going to start at tennis courts on Ward, go down at Melville. Don't go down Cornell, I would say.
Okay.
And then down to Lincoln Park. And then from Lincoln Park, what we used to do is take Stratfield pretty much straight to the school. The police decided we hold up traffic for too long doing that. So now we're basically taking a bike route off, like, up all these hills, that's more or less parallel to Stratfield. And we'll see how that goes. Oh my gosh, we're like getting late.
Yeah, it's getting late. Okay. All right, that's it for me.
All right.
Anybody else?
I just wanted to note that we have held a Remembrance Day celebration in Fairfield at Sherman Green in the past. I don't know if that's of interest to you to do something, to organize something like that.
The coaches here.
I don't know.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Not this year. I think it's something we could consider in the future. Mary, was that like during Sarah Roy's time, or was that before that?
I'm pretty sure it was probably Sarah Roy.
Okay. I'll talk to her. Does anybody else have anything to report? No. All right. Anya, do you want to take the committee values?
Okay. I'm doing.
Oh, I did print it too. We weren't sure what the situation was.
We didn't know what to. So I think, were all of you here for the values discussion a few months ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Thank you.
Okay, we don't need to project it. Fine. So I'm sorry, this is like taken a few months before it made it back to the meeting as a summary. So I know our memories of the process might be a little rusty, but, we went around the circle. We each contributed ideas to what values can be based on Vision Zero values. And I did my best to try to kind of bring it down to one page was my goal, to include core values and kind of explanations of what they are. So I'm not sure if I should read through them or if everyone just wants to take a minute and read it to themselves. And if you have any questions or feel like in my summary I might have left something out or overemphasized something that you don't think deserves attention, I would love to have those comments and from you. I'll just give you all a minute to read it. I don't like to read.
comment.
Yeah, please, I was waiting for this.
Well, I'm fast reader, so I can run it.
Go for
Instead
it.
of, in 3,
Okay.
instead of the word minority, could that be something like marginalized community members or something? Because I think minority just has a different connotation.
Sure. Actually, I'll just edit it right there as we speak, right? Oh, I opened the wrong. Why can't I? Oh, this is opposite. Okay. There we go. Margin. Tim, did you want to say something?
Just a question on motonormativity, is that word in the dictionary? Because you want people to know what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why I included it, that's why I linked it, but I just,
Yeah.
I love the word because I think it just encompasses so much in a single word. It has been used for a number of years. I don't know if it's actually in the dictionary, but I know if you put it into Google, there are many articles that reference it, so it is fairly established. I mean, I guess to me, the importance is, like, does everyone in this room know what that means?
After I hit it and went to Wikipedia, yeah, I didn't have a clue what it meant before.
I mean, how do other people
What if you had
familiar
said
with the
something
term
like, we'll
work?
work to change the car first culture, comma, parens, motonormativity.
Yeah, kind of define it. Yeah, good idea.
How about car-centric
Or,
Yeah,
car first,
that's
car
fine.
centric, whatever.
reality?
And it's easy. We'll read it.
Okay. Okay. Anybody else? So if everyone agrees that these values reflect those of the committee, then I would like to incorporate them kind of into our charter. It would be an addendum on the charter in addition to everything else, and then we can talk about the charter next.
Do we need a motion to adopt?
Yeah, I think we
Just on the education,
Oh, yes,
since we never get anybody from the board, the PTAs, the board of ed or whatever, or like the cops,
Yeah.
do we want to say something in here about we're saying educate everybody in the board.
Yeah, this is in the broader sense.
But do we want to say anything in here, including the public and the general public as well
Yeah.
as the public school population?
School-age population.
Yeah.
Sure, I can bring that in.
That's the broadest definition,
Yeah.
but it's all-inclusive education, but what we really need is a lot of.
Yeah, I guess, I think the description I kept is like kind of what we're going to be teaching and then to whom, but we can certainly kind of elaborate to whom this would be.
Or this is aimed at,
Sure.
this is aimed at both the adult and the school-age population, or something like that.
We should have, can I just say kids and adults?
I was gonna keep it simple.
Hi, can you hear me? This is Adrian.
Oh, yes, Adrian.
Hi. I just wanted to, it's a bit hard to follow all of this by phone. Note to self, I will try to avoid it at all costs. So I apologize, but that I am remote. But in looking at the community engagement section for the Vision Zero support, I'm not sure why social media is singled out, and maybe you've touched on this and I'm just having a little trouble following, remotely. But I would say a variety of formats, virtual and in-person formats, including social media, rather than being so specific.
Yeah.
And I would also, and I think someone may have said this, but if, in case I misheard, I would also say people of all ages. Or, something to that effect.
Oh, you're talking about the education part?
I'm talking about community education.
Oh.
Community engagement,
Engagement or education?
Yeah, and that's what I do professionally, so, in part. So, yeah.
I lost
I mean, basically,
I lost
it may make sense. Community engagement is part of my professional work.
Okay.
So I just feel compelled to chime in here. I think that, we want to be able to say that, we might put signs up. You may want to have lawn signs, like around town hall and other places where people congregate or, find themselves frequently, to let them know about things, or, those banners near the pavilion downtown. Might be another way of kind of communicating information about updates to bike-friendly and walking-friendly streets or opportunities. We might want to have events, walking tours. There are just so many different mechanisms, and I would hate to feel, for us to be constrained in any way.
Yeah. So I removed reference to social media, because you're right, that is pretty specific. And I just put utilizing both virtual and in-person formats, because I feel like that's pretty high level.
Yeah,
I think.
and all different aged and types of population groups, or something to that effect. I'm not sure exactly
Just
what
covering
the
this
should
for
be there.
everybody. Okay.
Should be.
But just something to make it clear that we'll be broad in trying to capture everyone, and not just, people who are regular bicyclists, because you want to be able to introduce biking to new groups, and also walking as a way of getting around, which, is often an afterthought.
Yeah. Well, the walking part, I think, was referenced at the beginning. So we believe that creating walking and biking-friendly streets is an essential part of building a community. And then I also edited to say, we must be sure to communicate frequently with people of all ages, making sure to get feedback from many neighborhoods, and utilizing both virtual and in-person formats while developing an idea and after it's completed. We can also just maybe wordy. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna utilizing both Actually, I'm gonna the after formats. Sorry,
that's great.
I'm trying really hard to incorporate
Thank you.
all comments.
No, it's good. That's good.
A little wordy.
That was a run-on.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you, Adrian.
No problem.
Okay. I know this one was a bit tough. I combined a lot of different kinds of comments, but I really didn't want to have another category. Okay.
All right.
Any other comments? All right. So motion.
Good job, smushing all that stuff in one sheet of paper.
Yeah.
All right. Motion to adopt these values for the Bike and Pedestrian Committee.
Second.
All right.
All in favor?
We still have enough people.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you. Sorry. I'll just check. So for this committee charge, I actually meant to also include a link to the existing charge, but I'll just I have it on my computer, so I'll just reference it. So the old charter really emphasized the master plan, developing the master plan, going back to the master plan, and I feel like that felt a little dated given the kind of work that we're doing. So the intention of updating the charter was to I basically removed any reference to the master plan, since we haven't been doing that as much, or at all, I should say, and kind of outlined what the committee should be focusing on, so the expectations are clear for everyone in the committee and anyone considering joining the committee. So the opening of the charter, I'll highlight the things that are kind of different from the existing part. So the opening of the charter really references a lot of the language used in the Connecticut Vision Zero site. So I was just trying to kind of reference that as we move forward to announcing Vision Zero for the town. There's a couple highlights with the 1, 2, 3 about why we think that this is important, including just generally that there's more road user fatalities across Connecticut, and including Fairfield. Jeff Randolph put together a map you can look at that basically showed all the deaths and serious injuries. We often hear about the deaths, which are clearly nowhere near 180, thank God. but we also do have a lot of serious injuries that I think we hear less about in the committee, so I thought it was important to kind of elevate the numbers. And actually looking at this, I realized one thing I'm going to add. I said since 2018, but if this is going to live with us, we should cap it. So it's between 2018 and 2024. So I'm going to add that, since that way this number will remain accurate. Okay. Also, just I love this visual. It's part of which is often referenced in Vision Zero. Kind of, how much of a difference it can make as we slow down traffic, or in terms of deaths and serious fatalities. The really long paragraph about the Board of Selectmen shall appoint, et cetera, that's basically verbatim from the old charter. That's just saying we're not changing the composition of this group. I didn't think that was anything we needed to do, and so that's pretty much copy-pasted from the old charter. So if something is like, wait, are we appointing people? No, I'm not saying we appoint people from scratch. I just kind of decided I'm not going to bother changing the section.
No reason. No reason.
Yeah, so that's the same. So the responsibilities are quite different because, again, we are moving away from focusing on the master plan, and we really have to think about what we want to focus on our committee. That's probably, I would say, the most important section where I want to have the most eyes. I want to make sure that we're aligned on what we think the responsibility of the committee is. So educating the public and building support for safe street infrastructure projects, including, and this is a list of how we can do that, so this gets a little more specific, assisting with town hall meeting hearings, providing letters of support, which we've done a bunch in the last year, engaging in social media with members of the public, organizing community events that create enthusiasm for biking and walking. So this includes the bike buses we've been doing, the bike rodeos that have happened, community bike rides, just an idea. That's something we can have in the future. Open streets is something we've been talking about as well, besides this idea of blocking the streets and allowing kids to play in the street to show the value, show that the public owns the streets. Now that I'm reading this, I'm wondering if it's too specific, but anyway.
Yeah, it might be.
This might have some, I can cross some of this out, but let me just go through it first. And then be aware of myths around certain traffic calming solutions and policies, and working on spreading well-researched, accurate information. So there's a lot of, sometimes we hear questions on projects like speed bumps. Can we do speed bumps? Some people say no because we can't get a snowplow through. So how come so many other towns in New England have to do them?
It doesn't snow in Westport.
Now it doesn't snow. It doesn't even matter. But I think that's why I kind of highlighted that. I think sometimes when we talk about traffic calming solutions, there's a lot of weight, but doesn't it do this? And I do think that there's a responsibility when being on the committee to kind of being able to identify and dispute common myths.
So it's kind of wordsmithing, but how about starting it with spreading well-researched, accurate information?
Sharing, promote sharing.
Put the positive first, and then the negative.
Sure. I see what you're saying.
To
spreading well-researched, accurate information.
Combat is not the word I want.
Dispel.
Myths
like that word.
Myths
around certain traffic calming.
It's not limited to traffic calming, though. It goes beyond that. It goes beyond.
Well, maybe, like
it definitely includes
road safety design.
Yeah, road safety design.
Yeah.
Road safety design and policies. And I'm not going to have a motion today to approve this, just so you know, because I want to be able to. Anyone who's not looking at this today can still have time, so we'll do that next month.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to take your notes here. Okay, road safety design. And policy, so I'll make those updates. Okay, so also monitoring transportation and other projects to ensure they're consistent with the Complete Streets policy and ordinance. So that's, having, a lot of that is basically having Bill Hurley come in, tell us what they're up to, make sure that aligns with their values, provide feedback, and kind of stay looped into that conversation. I did put an example here. I wrote this a while ago. So working alongside the Complete Streets Coordinator, reviewing streets that are on the DPW paving list and applying principles to prioritize which streets receive funding. I think we can take that out now.
I'm tempted to take it out. I think we can take that out. I think when we first kind of looked at this, we were trying to, in anticipation of having a conversation with everybody, making sure that how we were thinking about it specifically.
We also thought,
but I don't think it needs to be in our official.
Yeah, I also thought we'd have the Complete Streets Coordinator by the time we were reviewing.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that example. Okay, so serving as partners to residents and assisting in creating solutions for issues identified by residents. I think this is really important. I think we get we get a fair amount of requests through our website, and I think we need to be really mindful about our responsibility in helping people who are coming through those channels and achieving what they need or educating them on how to get help.
Does it make sense, and maybe here or someplace else, to talk about educating everybody and working with everybody, children, adults, blah, blah, blah? And residents, does it make sense anywhere to put in here something like,
that's the first.
And working with residents and local merchants or local businesses, because, they have weight, like local educational institutions and businesses in the town, because you could get, Sacred Heart, Fairfield U involved, just more than just the residents, it's other stakeholders in the community.
How about instead of just residents, I like that word, just
like stakeholders.
What are they doing for residents now?
Yeah, I'm just.
I think number 3.
Well, you're right, because businesses are going to identify.
Yeah, and if you could tell, if you can make it.
Do like maybe community stakeholders.
Right.
So when we were getting it off the ground in Norwalk, we had the Chamber of Commerce involved, and businesses wanted this stuff because it slows traffic down and it's good for their business. And they had all those apartment buildings in Norwalk. Those guys were all in because it attracted the type of tenant they wanted living in their building. So they're key.
So what word did you use, Sarah? You said
like community stakeholders or something.
Or, what,
I
hear it there, let it germinate.
Yeah. But I hear you.
Besides families and other.
We haven't really been thinking about that, but that's an interesting angle. So 4 is assisting the town identify and applying for grant programs. So as you know, some of us were involved in applying for the Safe Streets for All grants, and we hope that's one of many grants that we'll be involved with in the future. Again, I said assisting because we do have a grant writer in town. So
there's no grant writer right now.
Well, they're trying to hire. Yeah. They're hiring.
She's gone?
Yeah, she left in July.
Oh.
Yeah, they're trying to hire somebody else.
No, Terry Brown. Good job. It's been
posted for a while. Hopefully they're
She's part-time, right?
She was part-time. They're looking to hire a full-time person to replace her.
So
we don't have to do all the work, but I think identifying it and kind of helping the town as needed programs is something we should be doing. Yeah.
I have like a procedure question. We're going to do all these things. Do we have a policy procedure for doing, like going out and speaking to it, advocating for this or that? So do you need the okay from the rest of the group? Because we're a team.
Right.
There's no free agents on the team. Right?
So I think in that example, like if we were to like door knock for support for the South Benson project, like let's say like they need help, like I think what we would have to, I guess procedurally, we'd probably have to vote on what like the committee is planning to like position on it. So if we're gonna
do it,
we're gonna support like the bike lane on both sides. So I guess we would have to probably vote on that and then come up with some talking points. I don't know that the talking points have to be like approved necessarily, but like just so everybody's on the same page on kind of like how to advocate for it and then
here's what the town is proposing.
Right.
And
like this is
your feedback
this is why it's a good idea, and and if you're for it, great, and if not, like maybe taking it off, like getting them more information, connecting them with people who can answer like more specific questions potentially. I don't know.
When grants
does that sound right?
Before we get involved with powers that be, does it need to get vetted through this committee?
I don't know that for grant.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Like this, $300,000.
Yeah.
I mean, we found out about it after the fact. Most of you guys may have been working on it, but the rest of the committee was in the dark until you got it.
No, I mean I was talking about it the whole year. You can go back through. I brought it, I think, in January or February, and
I think from pretty much your first meeting.
Yeah. I mean, I agree that one was like a group of residents, pretty much. Like that, I was started working on it before I was on the committee almost, but like that happens sometimes too, like where a group of residents go and they ask for it, and then so I think like ideally it's like but then I was on the committee, and so then we started talking about it.
Yeah.
So I hear you.
Yeah, I would hate to slow down grant applications in order to get like head approval.
Yeah, but it depends on, I get that, but if the group doesn't agree that that's something we should go after, and this may never happen, but don't you need the group to say, yeah, that's a good idea, let's do it?
Well, maybe if the bike ped committee is the lead on it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, or even if someone contacts us, say, we want your support on this.
Well, we do that though, for like a letter of support. We don't,
We always have
It
that.
gets run by the group before it goes out.
yeah. Unless there's not time, and then I think in the past, it's like the chair can write one just being like, this is my own personal, like it wasn't approved by the committee.
Yeah, but then, can you do that? Like, it's an interesting question, I think. Once you join a group, do you give up the ability to act independently?
I mean, we can ask the town on what the rules are on that. I don't know.
I don't know. What's ethical and what isn't ethical? I'm just asking a question, I don't know the answer.
Yeah, I mean, are you speaking as
Can you?
Joe Smith, or are you speaking as Joe Smith, member of the committee?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I know
you're
even in
never
my
not a
temp,
member of the committee, once
Well,
you
but
join it.
but I know even in my synagogue, for example, there's been many times where like the rabbi can sign something to represent them, even though clearly they have, a synagogue that's behind them.
Right.
But they can differentiate when they're signing it as just themselves versus representing an entire synagogue. And there's even more weight to their name there than here.
Yeah. I think it's just an interesting question. And I don't know if the town has any rules on that.
I honestly, I don't know either.
They had a whole big session
They didn't mention anything
during the
like
winter.
that.
There was, I think, that went on forever.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when it comes to grants, it's like somebody's trying to get the town money,
Well, and I mean,
before it's finalized, there'll be all sorts of approvals. It's not like one of us can just go and get grant money
Yeah.
without this committee approving, without the town approving. At some point, there's approvals.
But you're still a member of the group.
Yes,
Yeah, so the group should know.
yeah, we should,
like,
let them know.
I mentioned
Of
a
course we'll
micro
let them know.
grant application like way earlier this year, and
Sorry.
like there was a micro grant, like we're considering applying. I wrote it. It looks like we're not gonna move forward with it, but like it was mentioned at a meeting, so is that enough?
I think it's enough for grants. I don't
Right,
think we
that's
need
what-
formal committee approval. But I think it should be brought up, yeah. If one of us is applying for a grant relative to bike and ped, that should be. Okay, just real quick, everyone's packing up. Let's just get through these real quick. Assist in the town, okay, wait, did that. Provide an annual status report to the Board of Selectmen. That was actually in the previous charter as well, and we're kind of reinstating that. We didn't really do it, but it was in the previous charter.
And we have been asked for it
They didn't
this
miss
year.
it either.
But we have been asked for it.
We have been asked for it specifically from the first selectman.
Which we didn't get, I think
Which
we're
we
out of
didn't get
time.
to, but if anybody has feedback on the annual report, you can just send it to me directly. It was a pretty rough draft that I sent out,
Pretty good.
so I'm open to whatever.
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody has it now, you can tell me, or we can do it over email. So.
There's also a time commitment section I put down. I put it there just to emphasize, like, I think being on this committee, I'd like ideally everyone's goal should be more than just attending the meetings once a month. I'd love to see everybody kind of take on wherever they think they can contribute, and also just take time to learn. If you haven't joined the Bike and WhatsApp group, that's a great resource for learning about these issues, but I'm sure there's many other places to do it as well.
Do my bike rides through town count?
Sure, do it. If you're reporting
Come
back,
back to report back,
yeah, you gotta report back on
Yeah.
where we need to focus.
You have to post your GoPro.
Feel free to email me if you say you wrote some things down. I didn't know if you had a
It
chance
was
to.
the same thing that you were saying, I just wanted to have my own.
I motion to adjourn.
Yes,
Okay, 7:55.
okay.
All right, thanks, everybody.
Yeah.